Hello and welcome back to ESL Pro League, live from the Intel Esports Arena. We've just seen G2 completely dismantle Ninjas in Pyjamas and put them to DE_bed. Snods,
Jack,
what are they going to do in the next one? Because they just looked in disarray.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where if there wasn't a best of two guaranteed, no one would be buying the pay-per-view for the rematch with how one-sided that really was.
Exactly. It's like the KSI fight. It was all planned from the start.
Yes. Yes, it was.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't think that was planned from NiP. It didn't look planned anyway. Their setups were fairly abysmal. There was a lack of team play, a lack of cohesion on their CT side. Their CT setups, even if it made sense to begin with, they didn't react properly from it. We would see them take control of the map, one half of it, and then not react on the other half of the map. I don't know what to say, really. You could say it's basics, but it shouldn't be these mistakes at this level for a team of that caliber as well.
It's very true. And you could see actually this time around, the tactical mind of Existence being able to run a little bit more free there, being able to have some very effective calls. Obviously, one of the rounds you noticed more so was the tempo switch where they went for that monster rush, which was a good call.
Yeah, really, really good call, right? If you think about it, you're one step ahead, okay? So your versus, say you're versus Astralis, that's a very bad example to give. Say versus Hellraisers, right? And you've been so successful with the slow, steady starter play, and you're going to be expecting Angel's reading the game. He's going to go for something to counter that. Bring out 2 AWPs to counter a slow default. Bring out CT aggression to get early information to know where you're going to execute. Do something different, right? So you plan ahead. Existence made the perfect call to counter what NiP were going to do, and NiP brought out an AWP towards the B site. Forrest was going to be AWPing the angle. He got instantly flashed and charged down. They brought out the boost to wait for the flashbang to come over B short, to peek up and get the kill. There was no flashbang. They all ran through monsters, shot them in the side. Very, very good read. Very, very good call, and exactly the right round to do it.
Yeah, it was very nicely timed and a whole lot better. And calls that good come from Vodafone.
And the 3D graphic, well. Lower third. Oh, it's there.
Yeah,
actually. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was nice.
And we have the odds for this series as well. So let's see how this one is going to go down. Still very one-sided in favour of NiP. Obviously, if you remember the odds we did initially saw.
Hey, I'm just going to say, I said those were pretty obscured. It's still 1.65 to 2 after a 16-2, Jack. So yeah, I mean, if this is a draw, which we alluded to earlier on, obviously NiP are a good team in Inferno. We did think that the fact that when we saw G2 yesterday versus Windigo and Overpass get demolished 16-3, obviously both teams lost in a similar fashion yesterday, except NiP lost versus Astralis 16-4, G2 lost to Windigo 16-3. So we thought, okay, completely different teams. Surely G2 are in a worse form on this map. It's going to go NiP's way, and then Inferno should go in G2's way. Completely different to what we thought. Yeah,
it has been completely flipped on its head. However, we both did assume this would probably go in more of a 1-1 split. You know, both teams walk away with 3 points. But there's potential that it actually could try and be a 2-0 here for G2, as they were popping off. Body looked amazing. KDS had an incredible game. And Shox was definitely playing a lot better than he was yesterday, which is kind of that trifecta, right? Body's one of these players that if he's popping off and you've got the KDS factor in play, already that's 2 big damage dealers. If Shox can also wake up fully and play to the level of pedigree we expect from him, they might be able to run over, especially when Existence Brain's looking like it's had all the Omega-3 in the world and he is calling some great things. This team could be looking quite scary. For NiP, however, they seem quite somber. I mean, it was only really Get Right that had quite a big impact in a couple of the lurk rounds, but even then, that's just vintage Get Right. There wasn't much else. It did feel quite dry from NiP.
I mean, you're right. There were some individual rounds. Lekra had one. Rez had one. Yeah, Get Right had the flank as well. But it's all one round in isolation, and even then, they're losing rounds, right? We saw a 2 versus 4 from Kenny and Body. We saw the Body 3K when it was a 4 versus 3, for example, in favor of NiP. These are all rounds where NiP got economically reset as well, remember? So they lose that round in a fashion they shouldn't, and then they go eco, force buy, whatever. They lose 2 further rounds. So it really, really does drastically impact their CT side economy, and therefore the rounds they managed to get at the end.
Yeah, that is very true. Well, it feels like we're almost ready to get underway with this one. So what are your final predictions? Inferno, the second map of the series between NiP and G2. What are you thinking?
If that was a 16-8, 16-10 scoreline, I would actually be predicting NiP to take Inferno. I think they're the better team, and I think they have to have some, showing of form in this whole league, because remember, they're towards the bottom with a lot of maps played. It's not looking good for them so far, so I thought, okay, in theory, we have to see NiP do well on one map as a bare minimum. But with the form they showed us in the last one, looking, like a deer in headlights, like how many, anecdotal examples can you give to the point where it's just bad Counter-Strike? And to that point, I think G2 won this one 16-10.
Well, let's find out, as it is almost time. We're going to be delving into it. Inferno is going to be the map. G2 will be on the T side. Ninjas in Pajamas are over on the CT side. CT side.
It's like my weapon.
Yeah.
What did I even say?
Weapon, or whatever it was.
I can't even say it. It was so wrong.
But we are into this one, Snods. As, the early aggression's already coming through. Forest is trying to get quite cheeky. Let's see if he can be yelling timber, or if he himself is going to be the one going down. They've got the apps control, they're going to be bursting in, and they just overthrow him.
Shock's coming in like a pit bull.
Biting at the heels.
That was a timber...
Yeah, I know. Mr. Worldwide, mate.
Oh, dear. Anyway. 5 versus 4. Shock's with the kill in towards apartments. Does mean that, once again, G2 have the advantage, but not for long. It's going to be the shot from Get Right that makes this more equalized for both teams. Smoking in towards Banana will delay the push coming out from G2. As NiP go for a very, very heavy stack there of 3 players towards the B site. Well, G2 have scored quite the fake.
They have indeed. Full rotate. The only player that is still towards A is Dennis, the Golden God himself. He gets the early contact, but can he save the round? 45 seconds on the clock as it starts to tick down. They're setting themselves up. Kenny S has all the utility. He waits for the push from the rear whilst the rest of the squad gets set up in the apartments. They can try and go for this burst out. He has the smoke, the double flash. On the second flash, they'll explode out. But he gets detected here, actually. As Dennis works out what's going on, they're just going to have to go in dry. They've realized that the 2 players are focused towards the brackets area, trying to get that kill on Kenny. Dennis still struggling here, slumped down to just 2 HP, but he wins that firefight and gets Kenny S in a headlock.
Bomb planted towards the A site. Diffuse kit for Rez. What? Get Right just shot his teammate. Dennis is down, but there's no one even close to him. There wasn't a mismatch. There wasn't a mistake. That was a blunder, and now it's going to be the 3 versus 2. NiP had some sort of advantage, but at least Rez brings it back into something manageable. Get Right now, trying to come in towards the hay barrel. Both these players from G2 are located towards the pit position and under balcony, so now NiP can get them quarantined as Get Right jumps down, but he's better from behind and not from the foreground. It's all down to the new recruit Rez, and you've got to be saying, what on earth happened there?
It seems like Get Right might have gone for the blood sacrifice. And it didn't pay off. The voodoo was not with him today, Snods.
Well, seems like the unlucky turn of events for NiP is going to continue as we go into round number 2. Shaky performance by NiP so far in this best of 2.
Quite wobbly.
Very wobbly. 2 HE grenades brought up by Dennis and Rez. Going to be located towards middle. Obviously, you want to see if they can jiggle peek towards the angle, spot someone towards top middle, chuck in those HEs and try and get a kill at least to try and snowball that into a round win, but it's very unlikely considering that no one has Kevlar. Maybe they can try to do some economical damage against G2, but even then that's best case scenario.
Smith's going to be sliding his way in towards that B site. Does get brought down to 20 HP. And the airstrike here from Dennis and Rez goes rolling in. Not as much damage as I thought it would actually cause, and no real disarray either, as the team is just being picked to pieces. Body finds himself a hat trick. Get Right will be shut down by Kenny S as well. And that is the 2nd round picked up for G2.
I mean, the HE grenades did 100 damage, but the problem was it was spread over 3 people. No one going down for G2 in that last round, which means they're going to have even more cash to work with going into this one. If you remember, on the last map, Jack, G2 win the pistol, NiP win the first buy round, G2 win the next one, reset NiP, and you see the problem with losing that CT pistol and then winning the first buy round and then instantly being reset. You're in such a big deficit early on. So, grenade's going to be pinned towards Banana by G2, also towards middle. So, G2 just showing presence towards the whole of the map. Lekka are going to be here, has the backup of under balcony from Dennis to go for a bit of a crossfire, but the smoke will delay them so far.
A minute and 10 on the clock. It's been the early aggression towards the A site each and every time on the default from G2 to try and force that rotate out from NiP. This is the first round they've actually had the efficient buyout though. 5 M4s, but the utility is already dwindling. I mean, we've only got one smoke left on Get Right and a double flash for Dennis. This B site could be very susceptible to an attack if the push does come through. Get Right, we use that last smoke. It will bloom. But we're looking about a push here and just below the 30-second mark, Snods. They could have a field day.
Or it's looking like it. Good reply kill there from Dennis. We mentioned the crossfire there. The problem is, though, it's all an illusion, it's all a ruse. It's the fake towards the A side. The real hit here from G2 coming towards B. Flashbangs are perfect. And with that, Rez goes 1 for 1. Or the teams go 1 for 1, should I say, as it goes into the momentarily 3 versus 3, but then Shox brings it back into the advantage for G2. Forest, they will find Existence trying to get back into cover as the smoke does fade. Doesn't quite connect the shots, but Dennis will. 2 versus 2.
Yeah, that's nice. Dennis comes through, green fingers as he works his way through Garden. But can they draw out the weeds as they find both of the frags? They do actually clean this site up. They've come through and been able to annihilate both of them. So a big retake there from Ninjas in Pajamas, and they do pick up their first round. All things considered, it goes quite well.
Yeah, very well, but we can't buy into the story just yet. Saw this happen in the last map on an overpass. They got reset, and things went south quickly. And obviously, because G2 had such a clean anti-eco round, it does mean that they have a lot of cash to work with here. The full buy comes out, 5 AKs. No AWP for Kenny. That means this could be a very fast-paced round. Either Banana control into a very fast execute towards B, or something fast. Having no AWP to Kenny S when they had $6,000 onto Shox tells me they've got something in mind.
Setting themselves up once more with a utility. It's the double Molotov over from Body and Co. as they set up. Smiths is the only one that's holding the angle, but the push comes down. Nice use of the flashbang. It's actually a very smart peek. Well educated as he finds that first. And a follow-up tag on Rez. That was a big play. Normally you'd go down in a situation like that. So well timed with the flashbang.
Oh, G2 look in good form. You have to save if you're NiP in this scenario. You've got weapons to salvage. Lecro wins that duel surprisingly with an MP9. Can trade it out for the AK as well. So best case scenario here for NiP is they save the 2 weapons, defuse kits, utility as well onto Lecro. And that's their saving grace. When you look at the money here, Jack, it's so dire for NiP. They're going to be onto a $1,400 round loss bonus. So Get Right can't buy, Dennis can't buy. You know, Lecro, Rez, they can't even drop over weaponry in terms of M4s to their teammates. At least they have the saved rifles, though, to be a band-aid going into the next round, because if it wasn't for that, they would be fully reset.
History's repeated itself again as well. We saw this in the past, as you mentioned. You know, NiP, they get that first round on the board, the reset comes straight back through, you're left with absolutely nothing to your name. They do have the 2 weapons, so at the very least it's 2 kits as well. So they can distribute those around, try and reinvest around this if they would like to, and that does appear to be the call.
3-1. By looking fairly decent, actually. Obviously, it's only 2 better rifles on the M4 and the AK. Rifle onto Dennis, though, the FAMAS. As we see, UMP for Rez and Forest. So, push coming in towards Banana, and it's short-lived, Jack. Very, very short-lived. Even Smith's trying to go for more as well, as he did go for the 2 for 0 exchange, and he did forfeit his life. But now they know exactly where the remaining player is, the anchor towards the B site for NiP, as he was towards first oranges, making a slight adjustment though going in towards coffins. But look at this, Jack. Such a good read again from Existence, as everyone else has just rotated towards A.
Okay, that's for the first headshot. The push is just going to swarm in, but it's just easy pickings. The firing range line up for Body as he gets the double kill and hones his marksmanship skills. That is going to be the 4th now picked up for G2. And you can tell they're looking visually pumped. Seems like they're feeling themselves into this one.
4-1. And it's a hard scenario to see for NiP, because you mentioned how good they looked in the first buy round. And then I said, you know, we can't buy into it. We know exactly what may happen. It's the reset, and this is it. Colorized.
Circa 1997.
Literally. Probably in Tate Modern right now, but...
Ninjas in Pajama lose reset round on Inferno.
On auction.
Unfortunately, it's been shredded.
Hey.
Shout out to Banksy.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a, you know, a catch onto that for bank, and, you know, we can't bank on them. Yeah. Didn't have time.
It's alright, mate.
Not all your jokes can land.
Not all birds can fly.
Chickens.
The flightless mammal.
Full eco now from NiP. Another round for G2 to gain extra cash. You know, they've already got a lot, right? 6,000 for Kenny, 5,000 for Existence, 6,000 for Shocks as well. So money definitely isn't a concern for G2. Oh, nice shots there from Body. Shocks as well, going to be clean up crew towards the A site. Get right, we'll find one. No head ammo invested by Existence. Slight mistake. That's really going to be the only, well, cost for G2. 5-1 on the T side from G2 on Inferno. Let's see. Another buy round coming out from NiP. It's only the second buy round they've had, and they're down 4 rounds. It really goes to show how impactful the economy is when you are on that CT side.
Well, round number 7 now. Early on, the aggression comes through towards Banana, and Rez actually gets the double kill off as he's just cut his way straight through 2 men. Existence will trade it back. They were able to tag him with the AK and roll the grenade up like a bowling ball to blast him out the server. Dennis trying to block the utility that comes through in a cheeky angle with a juicy spray down. Grabs the Kalashnikov as well, begins to divert back, but Existence will find that pick. Does he realize there's a player so close to him though? Trapped between a rock and a hard place now, Snods. Was right by him. Lecro and Forrest are in position. He has a minute to play with. Goes back down towards T-steps. Get Right was there, lurking as always, and finds that kill. All 3 players recover AKs as well, so a nice round for NiP.
So, looking good there. 5-2. They win the second buy round. Okay, so far, in terms of buy rounds, Jack, full buy rounds, it's 2-1 in favor of NiP. Right? They win the first one. They get reset. Sorry, it's 2-2 in that regard. But the scoreline does not reflect that. 5-2 as we go into round number 8. Oh, HE grenades dished out early. Going to be hemorrhaging the HP from 2 of the players from NiP down to 30 HP. That B site in terms of health is going to be extremely vulnerable to an attack by G2. So, rotation from Lecro as he senses that weakness. Leaving just Dennis and Forrest here towards the A site. 5 players from G2 towards this site as NiP start to get aggressive towards Banana. They made the right call, but is it too late?
Dennis slowly pushing around, trying to go for the backstab. We'll get the first frag with KDS and the follow-up as well. This is huge. They've brought this round back into an amazing position now. They might finally be able to get the second round and overthrow G2. Rotate comes in. Body. Does he know what is rising from the depths behind him over at mid? The push with the timing's great, but Smiths is making a mockery out of them. Gets the headshot and leaves it back in the 2-on-2. The CTs have bomb control, and they now have the manpower advantage as well, as Lecro lands that shot right into the cranium. And Smiths has left this world, and it is all up to Shoxy. Can he be sublime into this one? Uses the utility to at least smoke it off. Going to try and recover the bomb. Forces them to spam it. They had no vision anymore, but he doesn't know where Get Right's playing from. Get Right will find that kill. He face plants the ground, and Ninjas bring themselves to 3.
Already more rounds than they had in the last one. At least that's a good sign for them going forward. And now the money has finally dwindled from G2. Actually, Body had enough money for an AK. He's gone for the... This is very strange, Jack. Body has $2,900. He can drop over an AK right now to Existence. And he hasn't. So they've got a set plan, and it's going to be rushing towards middle. Body comes barreling in, but barreling down he goes as Dennis lines up a nice shot there. Throw now towards Archway, drops the bomb. Now NiP know exactly what the game plan was from G2, but another very good trade kill there from Kenny S. As now he has to deal with Get Right.
3 versus 3. Get Right. Slowly encroaching back around and trying to get in position to strike from Arch side. So still anyone's round at this point. It's not set in stone. It's not been chiseled into the history books just yet. As they do begin to slip their way back up over by A. Forest, he needs a big impact round here. Has to try and find the initial kills as they push in. Struggles to get the first, but does still think one man down. Shocks, however, adjusts his crosshair critically as he lands that headshot right between the eyes of Get Right, and it all falls on towards Rez. Much like a rundown fairground, there's just not a lot to go on in the round for him, as he only has one flashbang to give him a bit of leeway. Pushes his way up, expecting the pit player, but not knowing where the other man will be. Sees his fallen brethren on the site as he tries to peek it, spots out ahead, and actually lands the shot off as well. It just comes down to Shocks. It's the 1v1 as he spams away, has to force the issue, doesn't have much time, and that will come back to bite him. He will perish. Shocks will find the frag, and that is a 6-3 scoreline now as G2 picked that one up. 3 rounds ahead of Ninjas in Pajamas.
6-3. I mentioned a strange buy coming out and they should have a plan behind it, but should I really be surprised? If you remember last season of Pro League, we used to see Mac 10 buys back when they had $4,000. They'd go 5 Mac 10s, they would leave $2,000 in the bank, and they would just charge somewhere. They'd go for some elaborate smoke execution. If it was cash, they'd do the wall of smokes on the A site, flash through them and charge and jump around. And we saw there, they jumped around the corners. Dennis, though, shot, double dinked. I believe it was body, yeah, it was body with the Mac 10 in midair, trying to go for that exact same play. But tactical timeout going to be called by NiP, and you can understand why. Their money is not looking too good, as they have to try to work out the best way they can distribute the funds and the little funds they have left. So, round number 10, 6-3. G2, if they get 1 or 2 more rounds, they're going to be happy with this T side. Nevertheless, NiP have rifles to work with. This is their force. Once again, utility damage being so high from G2 against NiP. Shocks with the first through the wall bang. How often do you see that?
Yeah, it is crazy stuff. Absolutely ridiculous. As we are into round 10. And they've already found that first frag in just a matter of seconds, and it's definitely going to be a bit of a tilter as well, the manner it was done in. Lecro spots them out, but doesn't see them for long. A flash before his eyes as Shoxy will knock his noggin off. And they are just taking that quad control now. Sliding into the site, they're going to be able to plant the bomb. They're into a pretty good position. They're trying to clear the angles as well. It will be a 3 versus 4 retake round for NiP. And the weapons are not great. They realize it is not worth the risk, so they will concede it. They fall back and go for the complete save. And this has not been ideal at all for Ninjas in Pajamas. This will be a 7th round now picked up for G2. And it doesn't seem like they're showing any signs of slowing down.
Yeah, especially when you factor in NiP are going to be onto an eco in the next round, provided that these players do save. So it's already going to be 7-3. If they lose the eco, which in theory they should on paper, 8-3, 5-round lead on your T side of Inferno. Obviously, as of late, it feels like the T side of Inferno has sometimes been favoured, depending on the team, depending on the economy, the momentum, the pistol round, etc. But 2 weapons saved, a FAMAS and a 5.7. Not really the best weapons to have in your arsenal, but at least it's something. Round number 11 then. Full eco as expected for NiP. 2 players of Kevlar that saved in the last round, and Mac 10 from body, but this time it makes sense. Used to farm up the kills, used to go in first to try and work out if there's a stack on a site, if there's an elaborate CT setup. Obviously, you send that Mac 10 in, you can find out what's going on, and at a very low cost if it does get lost.
Push is now starting to come out towards the B site early on from G2. Really hoping they can force the over-rotate, and they have done. Everyone is grouped up. But it looks like they might actually commit and go for this. Rez, elevated angles, he gets put on the pedestal above the boost. Oh, body with the Ferrari peak, slides out, Shuts him down with a Mach 10. Dennis double dinks him down with a 5-7, however. And it is now the 3-on-4. It's only pistols in play for NiP, and they have no chance to punish with them. They have been ripped to shreds by the AK fire of existence, who is making everyone no longer exist. He's put them to being extinct, and it is just on Lekro and a 1-on-3. You can't help but feel like this round is as good as over. Pushes in with the unsilenced USP. Wants to try and bring the ruckus, but I think the only noise we're going to be hearing is the cheer from the G2 side. Big tag, but no frag. Existence with the 4K. And G2 with the 8th round of the game.
Only player really fragging for NiP is Dennis. 13-9 for him. Apart from that, you're looking at Get Right, you're looking at Forest. Reds as well, typically. These players are sub 6 kills, 12 rounds in. If they're getting 1 kill every 2 rounds, how on earth can you expect to have consistent wins in these said rounds? Anyway, Dennis getting aggressive. As you said, he is the player that's stepping up and stepping down into this one as he's going to go down for the count. Shocked for the second as well, as he's still delivering pain. Forest with 1. Oh, how did he get... What? Was that through the smoke? I'm so confused.
He just owned him. Oh, Kenny as well. The headshot gallery towards mid. Not only efficient with the AWP, also a very skilled rifler as he batters him down. Leaves him looking like cod.
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
There's no Wendigo today.
Can I have some chips?
So, round number 13. NiP really in desperation mode and calls for desperate plays. And this is some of them charging towards Banana. They've finally got an advantage into this round, though, and into a round itself. 3 versus 2. They have to keep on to this lead. Otherwise, you're looking at 10-3, and G2 are going to be looking very good going forward.
That one's a blast of a pistol round. Lekro as well is at a prime time angle to further this. Very, very tasty headshot, and it all falls on Sharksy. Gets the 1 frag, but couldn't adjust to eliminate Dennis. And NiP win that round off the sheer aggression with the pistols towards Banana.
Well, we said desperate times, desperate measures. 4-man rush towards Banana with CZs, 5-7s, 1 Solemn 4 as well, and it worked out well. 9-4, but even then it's 4 rounds on the CT side of Inferno. They need to do better than this. They need a 9-6 half. Kenny doesn't quite get the best spawn, but he goes for the play. Rez beats him to it. Always going to be favouring the AWP that is holding that angle. So NiP have the advantage. Just 12, 15 seconds into the round. And with that, G2, now they know there's an AWP there, they think, okay, how do we counter an AWP? We need to use an execution. Smokes, flashbangs, Molotov. However, that AWP has rotated. Instead, it's going to be the rifle of Get Right, the rifle as well of Rez. Oh, it's an AWP, excuse me. I'm used to seeing Rez with a rifle.
Well,
flash? Ooh. No flash? Okay, this is strange.
Well, they're just going to push in. They're going to go for it as they bombard their way through. Get Right with the spam, gets 2. Makes it the hat trick. No, goes down. Punished by Smiths. Rez playing from the back of the site with the AWP, but can he get the AWP hand this one as he will get the first. Nearly the adjustment on the second. Smiths overthrown as they just charge at him. Panics so he can try and get the adjustment, and Rez will land the shot. It's now 9-5 on the scoreline, and round 15 will be a bit of a scrappy buy from G2. Just going to have to force up with whatever they can afford. 3 AKs come out to play. 1 Mach 10 there on Smiths. Kenny S. just on the Tech 9.
Indeed he is. Mach 10 for Smiths, Tech 9 for Kenny S, and 3 AKs as well for G2. Oh, that's a nice shot there from Rez. We saw that from Guardian yesterday.
See you, Smiths.
So, once again, advantage gained by the AWP of Rez very early on into the round, and NiP played that advantage very well in the last one. Forest taking that challenge as well, goes down very swiftly. Maybe body storm on the radar, through the smoke, I'm not sure. But I am sure that timing there could have been cinematic. What is the spray from body. And yeah, you can't even save in this one, Jack. They have to go for it. It's the last run of the half. It's looking like a 10-5 half for G2.
Get right and Rez. Going to be the retake squadron into this round, the dynamic duo. Can they cause a fuss? Or will G2 be able to protect their neck into the round? Get right with the backstab, slowly skulking his way in from the rear. But he doesn't fancy it. Looking very timid on that CT side right now. The utility usage is going to be launched out. Molotov and smoke comes through. One flashbang used, one remains. The push comes in, and Get Right was already on the site, but he's lost his teammate, and he now loses his box as he goes down. Kenny S will be able to get the double kill, and that is a 10-5 half. NiP, a little bit better than what we saw on Overpass, but still struggling here versus the French superstars.
And we've now got another French roster as well, Vitality. Very interesting to see how those two teams do perform. Obviously, G2 now a new lease of life with the pressure under them, the motivation to really perform, because how much longer are they going to have these opportunities for? Then again, in terms of talent, where do they go?
I don't know, it's a bit of a rough one. I mean, the whole question is obviously now, with sort of the French scene and players from around that region, what do they do if they leave G2? Because for Kenny S, right, where does he go? Can't
go to Vitality, they've got Zywoo. Tough call.
It would have to be sort of a different team there. We're looking at maybe like an American team or a European team somewhere else.
I mean, Skururu did just step down. But then again, there's so many, I say so many, there's Draken that's available, obviously benched by Fnatic.
Yeah.
We've obviously just seen Flusher go to Cloud9, so there is that relationship between Jack and Khan, I guess. It would be him, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's politics, and this is Counter-Strike. Pissed around, and 10-5, this is a must-win for NiP.
Well, we're going to be jumping into it. NiP doing Tour de Inferno right now as they do a bit of the old around the world. Get themselves that first contact up towards mid. Shock's going to be able to spam down, get a couple of tags off. They do start to fall back and head their way up towards top banana. Walking is in the unit. The only one that is lurking is Dennis with the Glock in his hand, but he doesn't really find much until he gets the headshot and takes down Shoxy. The push comes through, fast and aggressive in towards the B site, but Existence is popping their craniums off, trying to carry this one on. They're going to be swarmed. They sit on Nubox for as long as possible. Smith's nearly getting butchered by Lecro, but he'll learn his lesson as he's been shot in the head. And it might have been worth just finding the frag with a pistol. Going for the knife could have been what has cost them that one. Kenny S with a rapid double kill towards the end. G2, they win a pistol round that seemed like it was going the way of NiP.
Seemed almost as if he ran out of bullets there in towards the B site. Unfortunate scenes for NiP. As now it goes 11-5. This is looking like a very, very quick series. I mean, yesterday, if you remember, the first series we had, it was 16-14, and then a long game. And we finished by, 6 o'clock. It's 5:20 right now, Jack.
Yeah, this could be over very, very quickly. And Smith's proving that with the aggression. The CSS mixes strat coming out as you just burst your way down mid, charge in with the MP9, and see what you can run away with. And the aggression's there, confidence on display. Dennis will be able to find at least one frag, but they're all so low. And this round is pretty much over. G2, they don't even have to carry on with the aggression now. They can dial it back. They realize they're comfortable.
Obviously, this is the eco from NiP, and it feels like I've said that too many times already to count.
Oh,
this is something there from Lecro. Extra kill, extra utility to the next round. If you wanted to, we could go for the AWP and no Kevlar, but actually I have seen Lecro AWP before. But the CT side, I think it was like CT side Mirage or something like that, where it was very, very situational. So, in terms of the AWP, we've been seeing it on Res. There isn't really a standout AWP player from NiP. They had one in Draken, and they benched him. They had one in Fnatic with Draken, they benched him. In terms of AWPers in Sweden, you have JW, who doesn't really AWP as much as he used to. Isn't really that many names you can take out the hat.
The top hat. The Magician tap. Well, round 18. 12-5. Kenny S has his fateful weapon in his hands as well, so a push can be punished by Kenny S's elephant rifle. As he will start to defend towards mid as the herd comes through, gets the first as he begins his hunting ground. Looks to try and re-aggress again, misses it but adjusts, will go down. Luckily Shox is there in position to save the day. Existence rotates in with a tasty headshot from his M4 as well, screaming do you want more? And Rez comes in as the last ditched attempt. 1 versus 4, Existence cooking raw with the Brooklyn Raw.
(13-5) then. Obviously, typically this is when we'll be seeing the first buy round from NiP if this was the old meta, but it's the new. There's no buy for NiP, instead it's going to be the Quasi. Obviously, they are 1 step ahead in terms of the round loss bonus, so they are going to receive $2,900 for this round, so they can go for a very strong buy into round number 20, but at that point, you're looking at a field 14-5 if they lose this one. Really unfortunate scenes as they charge in, but it's a bait setup. That AWP is really just noise to bait for Smiths as they go for 1 kill. Only the 1 kill onto Smiths, who was baited for by Kenny S. 14-5, and is the full buy coming out from NiP. No one going to be boarding the AWP from NiP. I think it might just be a CT side AWP for Rez. So, what sort of strategy are we going to be seeing? The basic defaults where you take banana control, go back, take mid control, then make a mid-round call depending on where you want to execute. Are we going to be seeing apps bursts? Are we going to be seeing B executions early? Are we going to be seeing something different? As of right now, everything's fairly standard.
Round 20 here. 14-5 being the scoreline. G2 looking to just try and dominate. Smiths gets that first kill. Get Right goes down. And everyone is grouped up outside of B, just towards top banana. In terms of the utility, they still have a ton of smokes, 4 smokes, double flash. You've got the Molotov and the HE, so they have the utility to try and get into the site when they want to. And they're just going to be going straight in. Forest with a bold play. Does not pay off, and they are being punished because of it. Body looking through the smoke as well, trying to get the connection. Lekro survives on 1 HP, and Dennis is there on 78, but this round surely is over. It's going to be so hard for them to try and bring this one back.
Try to go in towards the B site. A huge utility. They used all they had, but it wasn't quite enough. All the players individually on G2 just stepping up to the mark. 4 versus 2. G2 splits. 2 for 2. Obviously, Lekro's on 1 HP, so if this was a normal 2 versus 4, you could argue, okay, well, if they group up, go in towards B, it's a 2 versus 2, there's still a chance for them. With Lekro being so low, and Dennis can try trade the kill, even then it's unlikely.
Oh. Easy double kill. 1 for Body, 1 for Shox, as they'll work together like a well-oiled machine. They've used their WD-40 this morning.
10 match points for G2. 15-2 in the first map. It's looking like it's, sorry, 16-2 in the first map. It's looking like it's going to be 16-5 here in the second. Yesterday we were behind schedule by 40 minutes. Today we might be ahead of schedule by 40 minutes.
Looking like it if it carries on like this, as G2 are just popping off, and it's looking very effective. NiP, the slow start, not looking great. And this has been a huge day for G2, especially with the odds that were stacked against them.
Spam, nearly connecting there onto the players from NiP, as they are going to be going for the apps burst. I was expecting something a bit more rigid, as the defaults were not working. They were losing the individual jewels 1 by 1 across the map. Grouping up. Forest, I'd imagine, is going to smoke out towards mini pit and flash for the team. And here it comes. Ooh, nice shot there from Get Right. Kicks things off in favor of NiP.
Oh, Smiths with a double, peeks out, but Kenny S will luckily be able to save the day as he gets 2 frags before he's killed. And it all falls on Odense. A 1 versus 2 over on the A site. The bomb will be planted, so he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Has the additional time to play with, goes for the peek out, trying to bring the pain to NiP, but he doesn't realize the player that is slowly getting closer from behind. Body is there. That will be the kill from Apartments. The defuse will come out as well. 16-5 is the scoreline, and that is a double win today for G2. They walk away with all 6 points.
16-5 on the last map there, and well, bet where they're going to be scratching their heads at those odds.
Very unfortunate.
Usually they're incredibly accurate, actually. You've got to say, fair play. Typically, it's perfect. This time, though, when you see the leaderboard, obviously, recent form for G2 has been very poor, but NiP, excluding Fnatic, have only played 2 games, are pretty much bottom 2 teams in the league. Struggling online right now, trying to find their form of Lekro being at the helm now. They look decent. At the major, they look decent. You know, with best of 1 wins over Astralis, going 1-1 yesterday versus Astralis as well. But as G2 have just proven, you can't really look at that too intrinsically.
It's rough, because that's the thing, right? You pretty much don't have to worry about Fnatic's placement right now, because they've only really played 1 game. They're going to play more today.
I think, yeah, they've got like 4 maps today.
So, you know, we can sort of try and see where they're going to stand later on. But in terms of the standings overall, NiP, after losing both of those games, pretty much cemented that they are in that bottom 2 still right now. So if we take a go as being the bottom team, if Fnatic weren't there to, you know, deal with inflation, it would then be NiP after them. That is a horrible spot to be in. And bear in mind, Stunts, this week has still got a whole lot more games to go.
It's very, very true. For NiP right now, they still may have contention for top 8. We'll see how it does conclude later in the week.
Yeah, but that is this one wrapped up for the meantime. Our first series done and dusted. To carry on, we're going to have Hellraisers versus Astralis, and we'll see how that one's going to go down after the break. Enjoy the replays.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, The Road to Odense, Betway, MSI, Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.